Welcome, listener. How are you? We're glad you're doing well, and welcome back to another very exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we talk about critical issues in the blindness community. Aaron's Opinion can be heard almost everywhere you get a podcast, such as Apple, Spreaker, Spotify, Google, you name it, we're probably there. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. Even you might want to be a patron on Patreon. By the way, just thought I should mention, haven't said it in a while, that this material is copywritten by Aaron Richmond and Aaron's Opinion under United States law. Thank you. All right, let's get into our guest today. We are joined by someone who has a very easy name for me to pronounce, obviously, Matthias. He's from Italy. He's had a really interesting life. And listeners, he's not blind, but we're still glad he's here because he's done a lot to help blind people and he has an interesting life story. First, where are you from in Italy, by the way?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me on the show, Aaron. I really am excited about this, so I'm really happy. Right now, I'm in Italy. I'm in Verona right now.
Verona. Excellent.
Yeah, Verona.
It's okay. That's very interesting because one of my fascinations in life is languages. And although I do not speak Italian, I do speak French. And a couple years ago, I was in France, and my parents and we were living or staying in the city of Nice, formerly known as Nisa. And
Yes,
one day we took a trip to Ventimiglia, and
yes.
Ventimiglia is a very nice city because I was able to speak French there. So I really enjoyed it. So I have been to Italy one day. Most fascinating for me, though, can you speak the ancient language of your city? Every city in Italy has their own language. Can you speak the Verona language?
Right. Well, first of all, I'm in Verona now, and I lived in Verona many years. Actually, as we will speak later on, I nowadays live and work in London, UK. But I've been spending a lot of time here in Verona, about 10 years, let's say between 2000 2010, roughly. But I'm originally from Genoa, which is the main city of the region where Ventimiglia belongs.
Ah,
So is the city of Christopher Columbus, say, I mean, the guy who apparently accidentally hit the United States of America looking for Indians. So,
exactly.
yeah, so accidentally. So actually, yeah, my native city is Genoa, and my my language is the Genovese, which is kind of a language, not only a dialect. So it's fairly complicated. When I was younger, of course, I did have a granddad who was very fluent in this language, and I am familiar with the sound of it and most of the words, which are, of course, as a dictionary suggests, many. I'm not fluent myself. I've been living in Genoa for my first 14 years, and then I moved. So I didn't have, honestly, enough time to become fluent in Genovese language or dialect, as you prefer. However, of course, I do have an understanding, a general understanding of the thing. From Genoa, I moved to Sardinia. From Sardinia, I moved back to Genova, then to Rome, and then I started to work around Italy for several years. And I touched base in Verona, or actually in the countryside, going towards Venice. And I lived in here for about 10 years, and then I moved eventually to London in 2012 for the Olympics. So that's the very long story, very, very short.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. I'm fascinated by the linguistic diversity of Italy. France used to be the same way. Each city had their own language. Can you say one sentence in Genovese?
Um, well, I can make you the sound of it, which
Yeah,
is a
give.
bit late, perché mi piacerebbe tanto parlare così. You have this kind of sound. You have this kind of sound. This kind of sound, this waving sound, is very much like Genoa.
I see. Okay, so so it's similar. It's similar to Italian. It's some similarities with Italian, but still some
Oh
differences.
yes, that is, is not an incomprehensible language.
I see.
It is a heavy variation on French.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many things we recall French. It's a kind of a
Right.
bridge between the two,
Oh,
in a
that's cool.
way. And
That's really
yeah,
fast. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, good, good. So once you started working in London,
yep,
what types of activities did you start to do? And at some point, you went to school to be some sort of um, a soft tissue therapist at some point,
that's right.
right?
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So the story goes that for many years in Italy, I've been in a department store, very large department store, and I covered different positions, um, and I was managing stock and people and activities. When I arrived to London, I reset the table, so I started from scratch, and I I met my future wife, and I decided that it was about time to learn new skills. I always did have a thing about movement, so I always loved very much activities such as, for instance, martial arts. I've been a practitioner for many years. So I said, well, one of the things that I always wanted to do, it was to be a masseur, so a massage therapist. So I discovered that London is a fantastic studying city, a kind of college, open air college. So I found a very serious course, very long, rather expensive, as all these things turn out to be. And I worked at night, studied during the day, gave my exam, followed my studies at college for a couple of years, and I graduated as a soft tissue release therapist, which is a sport and remedial massage therapist. So I started to work as a massage therapist of course, in spa and in private clinics, and then I end up in working with a physio clinic. And of course, I build up my own little clientele, and I now collaborate with osteopath, physiotherapy, and sport massage therapy studio in London, of course. This is my background as a massage therapist. So I've been practicing for now roughly 6 years, so quite a while.
Excellent. So someone comes into your studio or
Yep.
comes in. Talk more in detail about the day-to-day work of this. I mean, I've heard of massage therapy,
Yep.
and it is interesting, and on one hand interesting, on the other actually quite controversial. It's actually a controversial thing in the United States. This used to be a very common job for blind people a very long time ago. 50
Mhm.
and 60 and 70 years
Mhm.
ago, blind
Mhm.
people would be
Mhm.
massage therapists. So tell us a little bit more. Nowadays it's significantly less common, so a lot of younger people don't know what it is. What is it? Talk about the job more in detail a little.
I would like to start, if you allowed me, from the
Sure.
last note that you have, the last suggestion, say, that you have spoken. It's true. Many blind people do deliver massage treatment, not anymore in the Western world as we know it, let's say, so Europe, US, Canada. But they do still have an important role in the massage, in let's say, in places like Laos, Vietnam, Thailand. So in the East, in the Pacific area, a lot of visually impaired, heavily visually impaired and blind, they do deliver massage therapy. Massage therapy, of course, is, let's say, you work with your hands over the body of the person that is client to you, and you deliver different, you perform, you act out different kind of movement, which are either sliding or rolling or tapping or rocking the tissue. So let's say skin, soft tissue under the skin, and the muscles eventually, according to not procedures, but according to method, according to sensitivity and sensibility, meaning that you need both of them. You are totally right, Aaron. It's extremely controversial, meaning that if we ask the scientific community what do they think about massage therapists, let's say 50-50 they are split. In America, certainly it is 50-50 they are split. Like, yeah, nice, but not really helpful, or yeah, it can help, at least it doesn't hurt. So in Europe, at least Italy, France, Germany, Switzerland, we do have a very different understanding of what massage therapy is, because the massage therapist born much before, let's say, physiotherapy. So if you say physiotherapy, you do have kind of an understanding what it is. You have an accident, you
So
have
I'm actually slightly confused about it.
yeah.
To clear it up, what is
Yeah.
physical therapy?
Yeah, so let's say there are different degrees of physical hand-on job therapy. I make an example. You sprain an ankle, right? So you make an X-ray and you go to a physiotherapist. The physiotherapist reads your scan, suggests you a recovery procedure in order to fully recover, more quickly recover the movement ratio, strength, overall posture of your ankle, and keep on delivering your movement correctly, which for a normal person might be just, let's say, walking, which is very important, by the way. If you are a tennis player, it's even more important, because if you can't walk, you can't run, you can't twist, you can't play tennis. Of course, in America, physiotherapy is huge, because you do have a lot of contact sports, like the rugby, for instance, American football. So a lot of physiotherapists are involved in this. But when you don't break yourself this much, and you just want to maintain your body shape in the right way, you don't go to a physiotherapist. You rather go to a massage therapist. Either
Okay.
when you break something and the physiotherapist assessed you, is very often so that the physiotherapist will not touch you at all, will refer you to a sport remedial massage therapist who will do what the physiotherapist prescribed to be done. So let's say that there are two figures, massage therapist, physiotherapist, they are overlapping at some extent. The more medical one, who has the responsibility in reading scans and creating recovery programs, is the physiotherapist. The manual part of this work normally falls upon a massage therapist. Then the massage therapist can deliver, of course, on his own, on their own, on her own, according to what it is. Stress, you can't sleep, lower back pain, sciatic nerve, or you do have, clinching with your teeth during the night, you typewrite crazy hours, 24 hours a day, 7/7, and therefore your position is very close, and therefore you start to breathe quickly and short. You're not comfortable anymore when you're standing up. So all these things now can be sorted by massage. We're not magicians.